What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be diving into some head coaching candidates for the Detroit Lions. So let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome in, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, we're diving into some head coach candidates. Now, as much as I want to see the Lions be successful, and as much as I believe they can be successful and turn this season around, hence the video I made earlier today, if you guys want to go check that out. Like I said also earlier, I think it was maybe about a week ago by now, it's always good to be, prepared for the future. Where if something does go a certain way, and even if that's not what you were hoping for, it's good to be prepared. Because there's really two outcomes that are coming out of this. Either the Lions are going to turn things around and be successful, and that's great, or they won't, and we're probably going to have a new coaching staff. So for me, it would possibly could have a new general manager. But for me, I want to be planned for both scenarios. So I need to make sure that I am planned for the scenario that the Detroit Lions look for a new head coaching candidate. And I hope that the Lions are also prepared for that as well. So in today's video, we're going to be diving into a couple of head coaching candidates that I like so far, and maybe some that I don't necessarily like, kind of the things that I like about them, that I don't like about them. And if you guys have more names that you would like me to research and talk about, put it in the comment section below. If there's any names that you're interested in, whether it's you're interested or you're not interested in, put it in the comment section below, because I don't know a lot of names. I'm not great with head coaching candidates, so I've tried to do some research and just take away a couple that I do like, or maybe some things about them that I want to discuss, or some popular names. But if you guys have more, please put them in the comment section below, and we'll probably do a part 2. All right, so let's just hop right into this thing. As you guys can see from the board, coach candidates is what we're going to be talking about. Also, it says hi in the corner. Don't know why I put it there, but hello, if you're reading that, how you doing? Hopefully you're having a good day. So let's dive into this, man. Let's just hop right into it. Here are some head coaching candidates. Now, of course, some of these guys may not come available. Some of them, you may not interview. I don't know, but these are just people that I think would be cool to have as the Detroit Lions next head coach if it comes to that situation. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Bob Quinn. I'm not going to discuss that in today's video. Maybe we'll do a general manager candidates video. Maybe we'll do something like that. Now, you guys know the one thing that I'm looking for most in a head coach is this. If you saw my video, I think it was like a week ago I put it out, is I want a head coach that's had head coaching experience. I would like them to have success as a head coach, but at least have experience, whether that's at the college level, the NFL level, maybe even the high school level, but more of the college and up kind of level. If it's that, heck, even arena football, that's kind of what I'm looking for, because if you've had that at least experience, maybe for a few years, and you kind of know how things run, you know what it's like, the process to bring in coaches, to hire staff, to manage a team, to manage a practice, those simple things that you won't really think of when you're hiring a coach, right? You think of all the details, like where are they ranked defensively? What do they rank offensively? You look into all that little things and the players that they worked with. You look into those, but you don't really look too much at how important it is to be able to manage a team. And I think that's what the Detroit Lions personally need. And if you guys want to know more on why I feel that way, I do have a video about that. And that's because the Lions have had the most success in their historic franchise when they've had a head coach that was before a head coach or a player that was within the organization. And I think that's what the Detroit Lions should personally look for here. I think that's great. I think it's good to have a guy that's had head coaching experience, especially for the Lions organization that has historically not been very good. And you can bet that if the Detroit Lions once again are going to be looking for a new head coaching candidate very soon, we're probably going to be an absolute mess. They may be tearing it all down. We may have a big rebuild, the biggest rebuild we've had since Matthew Stafford has joined the Lions. We could potentially be looking for a new quarterback. So I want a guy that's done it before, not someone that's completely new to it, but we're also going to touch on some coordinators, all right? This is a lot of talking, so let's get into it. So the first guy I have is Urban Meyer. Now, I know Urban Meyer may not come out of college, and he may not want to go into the NFL. Actually, most recently, I think it was Matt Leinart who said that he discussed Urban Meyer. Now, this wasn't Urban Meyer saying this. This was Matt. Matt said that he believes Urban Meyer is done with coaching. He doesn't think Urban Meyer will come back to coaching anytime soon. He thinks he likes what he's doing, on the Fox pregame shows for college football. And that's cool. If that's what he wants to do, that's cool. But I do want to bring him up because if he did become available and he was someone that the Lions could go out and get, this is one of the top candidates for me personally. He retired back in 2018 due to health reasons. So did say, I would say a few weeks ago, that if he did come back to coaching, he wouldn't want to call plays, but I think that's more for college. I'm not sure if he'd want to do that in the NFL. He may want to call plays. That may be his thing. And, some head coaches do that. We know that. So let's talk about Urban Meyer a little bit. Urban Meyer's had success everywhere he's been in his head coaching career. Now, the one thing about Urban Meyer, one of my flaws, I would say, is he's never coached in the NFL. So sometimes guys don't necessarily translate as well to the NFL. Just like a player, sometimes it doesn't work as well. So that's probably the biggest flaws. We'll get into more of those in a second. But when you specifically look at what he's done, where he has coached, and when you look at all the teams in college that he has came into, he has turned them around and he has turned them into basically a juggernaut, right? He's made every place successful that he's been. Whether that's Bowling Green Green, where he made them 8-3, then 9-3. Whether that's Utah, where eventually they were undefeated. Yeah, Utah went 12-0. Whether it's Florida, where he won a championship, or Ohio State, where he's made them one of the most dominant teams in college football, and that lives on through Ryan Day. Urban Meyer has had crazy success everywhere that he's been as a head coach. He has a 187-32 record and also 3 national championships. We know he can win the big games. We know he can beat the good teams, and we know he can build an organization and a program. The question is how would he do in the NFL, never coaching in the NFL, because there are some big differences. So let's hop through the pros that I think would be of hiring a guy like Urban Meyer. The pros. First off, he's coached before, right? He has that experience. He's coached many places before. Also, I think a nice little thing with, college coaches is that they may know more about what kind of prospects they're looking for, because they have to reach out to the prospects, right? It's a little bit different. You're not just drafting. You have to get to know the players. You have to try to get them to commit to your school. So a little bit of a different process, but he also may have some knowledge on players coming out of college into the NFL, players that he likes, some really good experience that he's had in the past. So maybe he picks on what players would be the best. Now, again, he hasn't been in the NFL, but I know he can build a team and that he knows what kind of players to look for. He also probably has a really good connection with his players, building relationships there. Comes to the Detroit Lions, there's a chance that we're in the midst of a full rebuild. And if that is the case and we're looking for a new quarterback, we know he's also, had some quarterbacks in college football, and some of his quarterbacks have went on into the NFL draft. However, the concern with this is that every college quarterback that he's put out hasn't been successful. I mean, the most recent was Dwayne Haskins, and, he just got benched. But he hasn't had really any success with quarterbacks that he had coming out of the draft. But the thing is, he's not trying to prepare them for the NFL, I don't believe, as much as he's trying to win football games. So it's a different game. It's a different style. And maybe if he's, can bring that style to the NFL, we've seen it work with some people with, the Arizona Cardinals. They're kind of bringing a little bit of that style. We'll see where that goes. I'm not sure how well that's going to work. But we know we've seen guys try to kind of bring that into the NFL. It makes it a little bit different and, just kind of their own way of doing things. And that could be kind of the same similar thing that we see with a guy like Urban Meyer. Plus, if he was our head coach, maybe it opens up the door for potentially drafting a guy like Justin Fields. I would just leave that out there. So there are some cons. Also, like I said, the bad quarterbacks, but also he's had some controversy with places that he's went. He's had some problems that I would say that, the program has had to deal with when he's been there. But, if you could look past that, the Lions are willing to bring him in, and he's willing to come here. I think Urban Meyer is a proven coach, and I'd be very curious to see how well he coached in the NFL. The Browns have shown interest in him before. It just makes sense. He just wins everywhere he goes. He turns around programs, and he makes them very good. I mean, there hasn't been a place where you look at him like, yeah, you failed here, because he just doesn't fail. He makes it work. It'd be different in the NFL for sure, but I'd be very interested to see how he could do. Next up, let's go to another college football quarterback, and then we'll start to get into some other guys. Let's go to another college football coach, and then we'll start to get into some other guys. I have Jim Harbaugh. Now, I'm a Michigan fan, so of course, Jim Harbaugh is the guy that I always think of, but I did have Urban Meyer on here as well, and he was an Ohio State coach last. But Jim Harbaugh, like Urban Meyer, has had success pretty much everywhere he's been. Plus, the great thing about Jim Harbaugh is he's also coached in the NFL, so he has both of the experiences. He's been a head coach, and he's had success. He's turned programs around. He made Stanford really good. He made them 12-1 in one season. Then we know he went out, and he went to go coach the San Francisco 49ers. He led the San Francisco 49ers, so we're supposed to be rebuilding, to a 13-3 record. He took them to a Super Bowl. This team was super good for a few years. They were 8-8, then he left, and he went to Michigan, and he made Michigan, once again, a powerhouse. Now, I wouldn't say they're the best team in the Big Ten because they haven't won the Big Ten yet. Unfortunately, they're stuck with teams like Ohio State. But he's turned them back around into a really good program. I mean, they're consistently a winning program at this point. Usually at least 9 wins, sometimes 10 wins on a season for Michigan year in and year out under Jim Harbaugh. And before, it wasn't like that with Brady Hoke. It was 5-7, right? It was just going downhill. For Jim Harbaugh, it's consistent winning. Wherever he's been, it's consistent winning, and he's winning at a high level. He knows how to turn a program around. We've seen that. And he's also had head coaching experience where even when it didn't look like it was going to be so great, all of a sudden the team was great. Another pro that I like is he's known kind of as a quarterback whisperer, a guy that's really good with quarterbacks. And I feel like he's had some success making guys that maybe aren't the most talented look pretty good. With Michigan, I feel like he made guys like Wilton Speight look pretty solid. Jake Rudock was actually drafted by the Detroit Lions. That's interesting. And in the NFL, he got to work with guys like Colin Kaepernick, who are no longer in the NFL. But Colin Kaepernick, when he was working with Jim Harbaugh, was insanely good, right? So he knows how to win football games like Urban Meyer. A lot of similarities there. My one concern would be how much interest does he have, kind of like Urban Meyer? Does he have interest to even leave Michigan? I don't think there's a lot of concerns outside of that, right? I mean, I really don't think there is. We've seen him in the NFL. He was successful. We see him in college football. He's successful. I think if you could somehow land Jim Harbaugh, you'd be doing the right thing. He just has a great attitude.
See, I'm bitterly disappointed in the officiating. Can't make that any more clear.
You know, John Harbaugh is also successful. I think Jim Harbaugh would be great. Another college coach, and man, we got a lot of college coaches. This is Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell, who is the Iowa State coach right now. So currently he's the Iowa State football coach. So obviously we'd have to see, you know, how that would work. The good thing is he has shown interest in the NFL, so that's why it's interesting. So he's coaching right now for Iowa State, who just came off upsetting Oklahoma. We'll see how that season goes. And he also coached at Toledo University with the Rockets. He started off at Toledo as their offense coordinator back in 2010, and then he was promoted to being their permanent head coach in 2011 as a 32-year-old young head coach. Takes over Toledo, and Toledo's good. They're really, really good. He finishes that season 1-0. Of course, he only coached one game, but then 9-4, 7-5, 9-4, 9-2. I mean, those are really good records for Toledo. They were very good in the MAC conference, and he actually had an opportunity to go work with Urban Meyer, but he passed that up. And with Toledo, he was doing things that, you know, Toledo usually not thought of. Beating ranked teams, beating Arkansas, who's ranked number 20, winning big games. I mean, he had Toledo looking very competitive, kind of like what we saw with Buffalo, right, in college basketball. They kind of turned things around. Well, with Toledo, Matt Campbell was doing his thing. Then he got an opportunity to go coach in the Big 12, go to Iowa State, see what he could do. And at Iowa State, he turns things around. It started off as his 3-9 record as he took over a team that was 2-10 and 3-9. He was 3-9 his first year, and he turned it around just after that. 8-5, 8-5, 7-6, and currently right now he is 2-1. He's had wins over number 3 Oklahoma, number 4 TCU. He's had some very big wins, and he's just been good. Again, he's another winner, has head coaching experience. I love that. Again, hasn't been in the NFL, which can be a little bit of a concern. The next thing also here is he has shown NFL interest, so I know he's interested because he did request an interview with the Jets, and they denied him. Could that have been a huge mistake by the New York Jets? Possibly. Could the Lions possibly get their hands on him? Maybe, because he's already shown an interest. So the interest is great. He's been an offensive coordinator and a head coach. He's kind of been through both. Again, not in the NFL, a little bit concerning there, maybe. And maybe not the most prestigious schools, like not the most well-known schools when it comes to coaching college football, but he's been successful. He's built a program, and he seems to be pretty darn successful. So those are the first 3 guys that I have. They're all college coaches, right? Next up, we're going to the NFL. We have Jack Del Rio. Okay, no, I know this is kind of a reach. I'm not saying this is my number 1 candidate, not at all, but Jack Del Rio is interesting. And again, send me more names. That way I can go look up people because I don't know everybody. But Jack Del Rio was interesting. Jack, you know, he didn't have tons of success near the ends of his career as a head coach, I would say, at least for Jacksonville, but he kind of did his thing. Like, he kind of brought some teams back to life. He didn't have the most talent. For example, I feel like he made Jacksonville Jaguars back to life. Like, they were a playoff team, and then they kind of fell off, and he comes in, and he turns them back around. 12-4, 8-8, 11-5. Now, after that, it kind of slowed down. He had a little bit of a rough finish towards his career with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but his quarterback was David Garrard, okay? He was not a very good quarterback. We know that. I mean, he wasn't awful, but he wasn't very good, and he kind of turned things around. Then he went to the Raiders, kind of same deal. They were 4-12, 3-13. He comes in 7-9, then all of a sudden 12-4, and then he ends up 6-10 with his last season there, working with quarterback Derek Carr. This is interesting. Now he is working as a defensive mind for the Washington football team, and it's been pretty darn good so far. I mean, it hasn't been great, but it's not been bad considering the competition they've already played this year. So this guy's interesting to me because I've seen a guy in Jack Del Rio that has taken over 2 organizations who maybe haven't been the best, or maybe we're on a downward spiral, and he's turned it around. The question is, can he continue to build on it and take them to the top level, which is playoff wins and Super Bowl success? That's kind of up in the air right now, right? He had a lot of opportunities. Jacksonville, he couldn't do it. But he did make them very respectable. He made them a playoff team for a couple of years in a row. And, he kind of turned those organizations around and put them right back on the map. So Jack Del Rio has the experience. I know maybe not the most exciting. Now he's working as a coordinator, so he has that experience under his belt as well. I think this is a guy that can manage the team and potentially take over a team that needs help in leadership in the top end of everything, and that's why Jack Del Rio is an interesting name. There is a few other names I want to touch on that are popular. Eric Binami, I think that's how you say his name, the offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs. Interesting, right? I mean, he's probably top target for a lot of people. I dug into him a little bit. He was a former running back. He actually was working with Adrian Peterson when Adrian Peterson was drafted in Minnesota, which kind of interests me a little bit because if Darrell Bevell stays, and Darrell Bevell, you know, he was with Adrian Peterson as well. So that would be kind of weird if he could end up being our head coach and he'd be working with Darrell Bevell again. That could probably be a pretty good relationship there. Ended up working actually with Colorado in college. So he worked for Colorado football in college. So he worked both in the NFL and at Colorado. He actually turned into the offensive coordinator at Colorado back in 2010. However, my concern with Eric here is that his offense seemingly got worse every single year he was there. Their first year, right, they're not doing too bad. 24 points per game, 4.5 yards per carry, which is kind of a specialty. But it's just going downhill from there. 19.8 points per game, 17.8 points per game. And as a team, they just got worse. Colorado was not good under him. I mean, it wasn't under him. He was just the offense coordinator. One season, they only had one win as a team. That's kind of the big concern. And now he's the offense coordinator in 2018. He came into Andy Reid, and they've been one of the most explosive offenses, which has really built his name for him. Yeah, he's a very popular man. Again, the concern here is he's never been a head coach anywhere. And in Colorado, it didn't seem to work. So I'm a little concerned, is this more of Andy Reid or is this more of his doing? Because Andy Reid makes guys look great, right? Andy Reid can make you look really good. We've seen a lot of disciples of Andy Reid. He's a very good head coach. So my concern is Eric going to be more of a kind of like a Matt Patricia? Could that be what the situation turns into there? So I don't have him in my top candidates, but he was someone I wanted to bring up. Josh McDaniels, I also don't think this one makes a lot of sense. I guess if you're going to keep all the Patriot players and you think that you just need a different head coach and you just wanted Josh McDaniels instead, then maybe it works off because he works, with Bill Belichick just like Matt Patricia did. However, I just don't think it makes sense because I think once you move on Patricia, you're looking to go a different direction, and I don't think Josh McDaniels would be the move, but who knows. Also, there's some other guys that I did write down here, but one guy I want to touch on is Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, I think I'm saying his name right. He's the defense coordinator for San Francisco, who's also drawn a lot of attention recently. I want to look at him. He was a defensive assistant in college, and now he's a defense coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Took over in 2017. Took over an awful defense, there's no doubt. However, the problem is that they really haven't been a great defense until 2019. 2016, they had the worst defense. He's taken over. He's trying to fix things. So 2017, he comes in. Their defense definitely improves. They allow about 100 less points in the season. They allow about 1,000 less yards this season. It greatly improved. They were on the field 50 less plays as well, though. But it definitely improved. They improved across the board. They were allowing 43% of third downs to be converted and about 60% in the red zone. So you're thinking, okay, that's a good step. Now let's keep building on it. Well, 2018, it was a little bit of an improvement, I would say. Maybe he gave about 50 more points. It was 435 points, 5,500 yards. 1,023 plays. His third down conversion percentage allowed was 40%. His red zone conversion percentage was 65%. He only had 7 turnovers. They only had 7 turnovers as a team, which was the worst in the league. And then in 2018, they bounced back, and now they've turned into the defense they are now, which is really, really good and what kind of made the name for him. He also did allow a 60% red zone percentage, but it's down to 33% in third down conversions. Everywhere across the board, it got much better. So 2019 was great. My concern is here they had a lot of talent brought in that defensive line, and once that defensive line got stacked, he looked good. So can he build a team? He's never been a head coach. Can he build a team? Can he find the right pieces to do that? I'm assuming if he came to Detroit, his focus would be to fix the D-line right away. I wrote some others' names down, like Arthur Smith, Rex Ryan, but he seemed to kind of struggle as a coach. So there's other names that I'm really curious to look into. So if there's more guys that you want me to talk about, put it in the comment section below, and we'll probably do part 2. What do you guys think about these names? Thank you for watching, and I'm out. Are you kidding me right now? I had to put my helmet on for this one. Are you kidding? Look at this. Look at all these members. What? Yo, hey, shout out to all the members, man. Look how many All-Pro members there are. Like, literally, it's the whole screen, dog. This is crazy. The patrons, of course, the Hall of Fame members, man. Y'all got the gold color. It's kind of yellow, but it's supposed to be gold. Shout out to all the members, man. If you want to be a part of this, all you got to do is join the channel. But there are perks that come with it. Stay locked in the community tab if you are a member, because that's where a lot of information comes out. I appreciate all of you. What?